Volkswagen has been around for so many years now and has such an iconic shape and following that many of us, including myself, have fallen in love with its European charm. I actually owned a Volkswagen back in the 70s when I was 15. My father had received one as compensation for legal services, and he handed it down to me. Now, later in life, I decided to restore a Volkswagen, and this is what I found. A Craigslist beauty, listed out as a 1964 Volkswagen, but actually with all 1963 features. Threw it on the back of a U-Haul trailer and hauled it back home.
Beetle. It's an obscene mess on the inside. Heater channel's gone, floorboard's all gone, replaced with just sheet, with plate steel really. Bolted incorrect seats in there. The thing has just been absolutely horrifically modified. The outside looks pretty good. The only problem I'm seeing with any of the outside metalwork is this fender here, which has a decent amount of Bondo on it, and the left rear fender. Right, taking the body off of the floor pan today. You can see where it's absolutely rusted through. Tons of rust. Shavings coming out. Body separated from the chassis, and I've left the engine in as I want to work on the engine while it's on the chassis because I might be able to get it started sooner or later. Getting prepared to start welding again. I've got the floor pans on there and they're ready to be welded. I've just got to cut them down to size. Alright, got the driver's side floor pan pretty much fitted well into there. There was some banging I had to do to get some of the sheet metal to work exactly correct, and I cut this section up here. And this section over here also needed some molding. It needs to be cut down this side though. I probably need to take about 1/4 inch off, although it looks good over here. I need about that much room in order to get a tack weld done. This side looks good, and as you can see I have it clamped off here. Here's my welds here, and you can see I've already painted over it with some rust inhibitor, as the welds tend to rust over a lot more quickly. This right here is the rubber seal for when I put the heat channel on. And as you can see here, the welds over here next to the strut. And again, I painted over them already. Last weekend I got the floor pans welded on. They're secured on there. I might want to put a couple more welds on there, but this weekend I went ahead and applied one coating so far of POR 15, which I got from a professional retail store not too long ago. Got the I had 2 coats of paint on the upper side of the floor pans, and so now I need to get the second coat on the bottom floor pan, which means I need to take the chassis out, flip it up on one side so that I can get to the bottom side of it. So, and that will take care of the painting for that. Actually thinking about doing 3 coats of paint on the bottom just because it gets so much abuse.
I was pretty concerned about the old engine as I originally couldn't get it to turn over, but I was eventually able to get the crankcase to turn, though it definitely looked like it had birds settling in there.
Disassembling the motor now. I've got it on my motor mount here, and I've already taken off the heat exchangers, the muffler, some of the tin, and now I'm getting ready to pull off this shroud here, which holds the generator, and as you can see the fan on the inside. Obviously pretty dirty, and I had to chisel off some of the bolts as they were not coming off some of the studs. Didn't want to lose the stud.
I decided not to mess with the old engine and purchased a refurbished one from a parts distributor in Clearwater, Florida that seemed to be running quite well.
Pulled the engine out of the Durango and am attempting to mate it with the transmission. Something that I knew was going to happen is this engine originally took a 6-volt flywheel, which is slightly larger than the, or slightly smaller than the 12-volt. This right here is a 12-volt flywheel, and unfortunately the 12-volt flywheel is going to not fit that well into the housing of the transmission. As you can see over there, it's scraped as I tried to put it in. This is something I had and read about, and what I'm going to have to do is right there where it's scraping, I'm going to have to grind out some of that area there so the flywheel can move freely within the transmission housing. Okay, looking at the transaxle bell housing here. As you can see, I had to shave out a decent amount of the inside of the housing in order to accommodate the enlarged flywheel. And there is the starter, which I have tested, and it is working perfectly. Alright, checking the engine tin. It looks like it's missing a piece of tin that would go right up in here, which is definitely going to cause the engine to run a little hot. So, but the problem is getting that tin in there is very difficult unless you do it while you're assembling the engine. Some of the other tin is obviously not put in there that great, so I'm going to have to get all the screws in order to get that on there. I'll have to check the other side too. Mated the engine with the transmission. As you can see here, right here's the gas line. I'm going to hook something up temporarily here so that I can get the engine started. The flywheel in here was too large for this bell housing, so I had to actually grind away part of this bell housing last night. Hopefully it fits now. We'll see when I start the engine up.